Okay, we are in. My name's Steve Jaguar, and welcome once again to a BeerNative beer review. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, share this with your friends on Reddit, because there's lots of beer review groups. If you like beer reviews, get on Reddit. There's a lot of good beer review groups there. People that talk about beers, some of them are regional. There's a really good one in Canada and the UK, so I totally think you should do that. But please share the love, because the more you click thumbs up and subscribe and tell people and more people to join, the more people who like looking for things on YouTube will find my channel, if you like it, of course. Hopefully you've noticed some cool things. I have upgraded my setup. I've already mentioned the lens is kind of new. It does autofocus, so I can like do zooms, which is pretty cool. So I can zoom in on this, provided I don't get too close, of course. And now you get a preview of what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into it, I've had some really amazing suggestions from some friends about the way I do the channel. And one is that I'm going to get to the meat of the review sooner and then give the background detail afterwards. Because I'm obsessed with like breweries and history and all of that. I have a tendency to start rambling about the brewery and the history and the hops and all this kind of stuff. At the very, very end, like 7 minutes in, I do the tasting. And actually a few people have said, actually do the tasting, open the beers, and then we can drink together and we can explore the history and the why and what and how. And actually, that's pretty smart. So I'm going to be rearranging the order these days. And also, I'm very pleased to say that I kind of have a sponsor. I think let's call them that, a supporter. That sounds good. Let's jump over and check them out. This is Beerheads. Beerheads is a very, well, let's say small-ish. I don't know. I mean, if I had my own beer store, I'd be pretty happy. I wouldn't call it small. But they've got outlets. They have one in Grantham that's opening on May 17th. And they've got one in Newark, which I know of, but generally around this area where I live. And they saw that I did a review of their mystery box, and I'll put a link to that directly above. And where I got a great selection of beer, some of them were out of date, and I met up with Phil, who runs it, and he said he gave me a couple beers to make up for it. I'm going to be doing those on the next show. But he said, hey, can you tell people about the shop? And people who come visit your shop can get a discount. Ooh, looky. 10% off beer with the discount code BeerNative at beers.uk. Not too bad, right? And if you take a look at the new releases, as I did today, I put an order in for ones that you'll see in future shows. They have some pretty killer new releases, like some of the Polly's ones that are here, enormous, like some scary, actually. Drone Logic, Simcoe from Whiplash. I love Whiplash. I love the art. I love everything about them. And then some breweries that I didn't even really know. Like we know Verdun, but Oslo, they've got some really cool new releases from Oslo that you don't want to buy anything in Oslo. It's too expensive. So if you can get them here, trust me, $3.75 would be a deal over anything you would pay actually there. And there's a lot of really cool things here. So among all the other things that they do in terms of just merch and all that kind of junk. So I think, once again, if you missed it the first time, that you come on, you're going to remember BeerNative is the discount code. Use that, buy some stuff there. There, you don't have to live in the Midlands where I live to buy stuff, and you get discount beer. Why not, right? All right. But the beers, and I apologize, Phil, if you're watching this, I'm not doing one of your beers on this one because this is what I promised I would do, and I've been delayed because I've been on antibiotics. So I couldn't do any beer reviews, let alone beer, up to this point. And so you can see in the picture, the lead photo, Elvis Juice. You're probably thinking there's 1,000 Elvis Juice reviews out there. It's an old beer. But have you noticed if you look at the one on the left, juiced up and ready to roll, the original Elvis, well, Elvis was already in V2 by this point, but it was close enough to the original. It's a 6.5% beast, ready to shake its hips and rock and roll. And then on the right, we have an old and bloated 5.1, which is the modern version of it. So, is it better? Is it worse? Is it different? My good friend Jacob managed to dig this out of the Sainsbury's discount pile for 6.5, the pseudo sort of semi-original gangster. And then you can buy these ones anywhere. So as I said I was going to do, I'm just gonna get cracking right away. And I'm gonna, as I do that, I'm gonna flick back to the screen and I'm gonna let you have a little read of. So this is BrewDog recipes. When they open sourced a lot of their recipes a few years back, you can see the difference. So by the way, the new Gangster, the NG, is going to go in the dark print glass. All right. And the original is going to go into the green print glass. They're going to look very similar. And I'm going to have to find a way to open this, which I have done right here. So you can see like the hop profile is complicated, actually. If you see like what start, middle, end, dry hop, what they did to get those flavors. Can't fault them on complexity. But the real kick, if you read in the top corner of this, is that I just clicked away. They infuse it with actual grapefruit. So there's grapefruit peel. So when we talk about grapefruit zest, it's going to have zest in it, right? So we've got this guy here. We'll start comparing color, and then I don't know if it's going to be that different. And I'd be curious if you're in the comments, because I rip into BrewDog occasionally, probably about 50-50 with praise. So there's the original in the green. And there is the new. Let's put them side by side. Lighting should be the same. So I don't know that I'm going to argue that I can tell visually the difference. They look almost exactly the same. Maybe that one, maybe the green's a little funny looking, but right now they seem identical. And in terms of just giving a smell, yeah, grapefruity. So also worth noting on Untappd, the first time I had Elvis Juice, which was like 2016, 17, I actually was so blown away, I gave it a 5. I don't give anything 5s on Untappd, right? And this is before I had a scoring system. I was just super impressed. I love grapefruits. And pith or no pith, I thought was great. So that's the 6.5. And it's a little, so I know they changed the recipe and it was a little sickly sweet. I'm just going to verify out of the bottle. But I liked the fact that it was 6.5 because there was a certain amount of almost fermented alcohol kick and acidity that came with that. So 3 steps to create a baseline of where I stand with that. Really, really liked it. I feel like I need some cheese. All right. I'm not going to get into what that tastes like because that would be an Elvis Juice review. I'm just talking about the differences between the two. I still like that, regardless of any changes, whether that was Elvis 2.0 or whatever. I still think it's a really good beer, and I would drink it on tap if it was given to me. All right, so now this will be my first crack at the 5-1. I'm waiting for the other one to go away because I don't want it to affect it. I feel like I want to eat a potato chip or something. We have some water. Let's do that. All right, great. That was a close one. Just corrupted everything. All right, so oh boy. Okay, that's obviously different. Out of the can. I want to try an experiment. I might do this at the end. It almost tastes watered down. I was worried about corrupting the difference by not noticing the difference if I didn't have water between. No need. I could drink this in between. This tastes noticeably watery. I need to have a few more sips of this. Give me 2. Indulge me, if you will. It's like the soul of Elvis Juice is still there, but the heart is lost. It does. I didn't realize how appropriate this was going to be. But that's actually feels pretty accurate. It's a little bit like when you switch from full fat, say Coca-Cola or Pepsi, to the diet version and you just go, oh, I miss that. I miss sugar. I miss fructose syrup or whatever horrible thing makes it taste like that. It's a little vacant. Now I'm gonna try and like just regroup and think, would I like this if it was if I had it first? So let's try and do that now. I probably would, but the problem I have with this version of it is that when it first hits your tongue and your mouth and your senses, it's there and it's Elvis Juice, it's grapefruity. I feel like the bitterness it's lighter on the bitterness. Even though they look the same, but it's like the flavor is gone and I'm actually left with a bit of hop bitter, which is okay. You know, it's like the sort of maybe I guess the most one of what's the most dominant hop is probably Citra. It's that's kind of what's there. And then if someone gave me that and said, "Oh, why don't you try this double Elvis?" Let's say this was the double IPA version of Elvis. I would I would prefer that. I would probably want it actually if it was up to me, this would be fine as like a session Elvis, but if anything, a little deceptive at 5.1. I would think well, might as well just drop it down to 4 or 5 and make it something really light I can throw back. And then in the same note, I would amp that up a little bit to maybe 7 or 7.2 and get rid of that extra sweetness. Because the difficulty with this one is that there are now grapefruit beers on the market that came out after this had great popularity that were good, but not as good as, good, but not as good as that. But I would say compete very strongly with, or might be better than this. So this is no longer a grapefruit necessity for me in that form. And I really hope that they do like a hazy Jane thing where OG Elvis comes out in a big can that is as it was as a 6.5 or something, or even I don't care if they bump it up a little bit. That would be my preference because right now it's good, but a little bit soulless. And I'm gonna have to check it back into Untappd now because Untappd isn't gonna distinguish. Like this is what I don't like about BrewDog. They just change the recipe. They don't give it a version. They don't. It's like when Coke just did that to Coke. When Coke in the 80s did New Coke, they got killed for it. And yet you could get away with that here. They're one of the only breweries I know that just changes the recipe, keeps the name the same. And then I go on to Untappd and it's like it says I'm giving it a 5. I'm not giving that a 5. No, I'm not doing that. So I'm going to have to recheck in and actually explain, change the recipe, change my rating. So that's a little bit annoying. It's like when you go on Amazon and all the reviews for all the different sizes and versions of a particular product are all lumped into one thing and you're like, that's not the product I have. It's like, it's kind of annoying, right? So there we go. I'm going to stop right there. I'm actually going to show you, we jump back to the screen so you can bail out. I soulless, a little on the sweet side, but still good. I'd easily tell the difference in a blind taste test. I probably won't buy a lot of Elvis Juice going forward. Not, but here it is. If you want to buy it, I guess I said it's like way cheaper. It used to be kind of expensive. So there it is. If you want to go get it, I think they've kind of messed it up. But then they are opening a bar in Vegas. So they're opening a bar in Vegas. It's huge. It looks like it's going to be actually kind of incredible. This thing, this rooftop BrewDog bar. Part of me is sort of like kind of proud that there's this UK brewery that is so kicking American butt over there in the way that they're creating this like monster bar. Like there's no Budweiser bar in Vegas that's of that scope, of that scale. There's no American brand that is doing that over there. And I can't help but think like that's pretty cool, right? And maybe that's why they dropped the percentage to 5-1. I don't know. Mainstream it essentially to get past having it on tap and having it everywhere throughout the US, because 6.5 is probably for tax reasons, for money reasons, for sugar reasons, sugar tax here. I don't know. There's probably a very good business reason why they basically killed our good friend Elvis and have introduced fat, bloated, dying on the toilet Elvis. But that's, I guess, where we are. We can only hope and campaign for an OG Elvis that we can all enjoy. That's the end of this review. I've looked forward to doing this one. And once again, I would like to plug my sponsor. If you've got to the end, well, bravo. I feel I should have a 20% off code for you, but I don't. It's beers.uk. Really easy to remember, right? Beers with a Z.uk. Go buy some beer there and get yourself 10% off with the discount code BeerNative. All right. That's the end of this review. My name's Steve. My name's Steve Jaguar. This is a BeerNative beer review comparing young, awesome Elvis with fat, old, bloated Vegas Elvis. Steve out. Viva